I'm 12 when Daddy first hands me a fishing rod. I remember the sun kissing the lake's surface, his rough hands guiding mine, the calm rhythm of casting out and reeling in. It was never about catching anything. Just peace. Just being black and alive in a world that don't always want you to be either. Now I'm 23 back from college, standing at the edge of that same water, rod in hand. Our family's lake. Our family's land. Been ours for 3 generations since Grandpa Jacob bought it with timber money and sweat nobody wanted to pay him for. A slice of North Georgia carved out and protected, 16 acres of quiet woods, whispering pines and still water that remembers everything. But things ain't as quiet as they used to be. Ever since the city folks started moving in, buying up land around us, fencing off woods they don't understand, we've been getting looks. At the gas station. At the farmer's market. Even at the church potluck we've been going to since forever. Polite on the outside, but there's a way some of them smile too wide. Like they're trying to forget we're here. Or worse, waiting for us to forget. The newest neighbor's name is Leslie Carmichael, but she introduced herself as, "Just call me Karen." Blonde bob. Always wearing those overpriced yoga pants like she's headed to a retreat. Drives a Tesla with a Save the Trees, Go Vegan sticker next to protect our suburbs. Lives alone in that big modern box of a house her husband probably left her in. 2 months ago she bought the property on the north edge of our land, and ever since I swear something's off. First it was the passive-aggressive notes. Saw someone near my fence. Please keep your guests on your property. Thanks. Then it was the drone. Yeah, a drone. Buzzing over our lake like she owns the sky. Mama waved at it once. Next day we found one of our chickens dead with its neck snapped. Could be a fox. Could be a message. I don't say nothing at first. We're used to this. Black folks in white spaces. Keep your head down. Be polite. Don't give them an excuse. But it itches at me, this slow push. Like she's testing the line, seeing how far she can go. Today I sit at the dock with my rod resting against my knee, letting the breeze carry away the noise in my head. That's when I hear it. A crunch of leaves. Then a voice, sharp and cloying like honey laced with vinegar. You know this lake isn't public, right? I turn slowly. She stands on our side of the fence, arms crossed, holding a phone already recording. I live here, I say evenly. Her lips twitch. Sure you do. It's small. A flicker. A moment. But in that second I know. This ain't just about property lines. It's about me. And she's already decided I don't belong. For the next few days it's like she disappears. No drone. No voice over the fence. No notes taped to our gate in flowery cursive. Just quiet. Too quiet. Mama says let it be. Some people just need to feel important, baby. Let 'em talk to their own echoes. But I don't like the way the air sits, heavy like thunder waiting to roll in. Tuesday morning I come down to the lake early. Dew still slick on the grass. Sunlight just stretching over the treetops. My boots squish into the soft soil as I step onto the dock. And then I stop. There's a sign planted in the ground. Private property. No fishing. Violators will be prosecuted. Metal. Fresh. Stake deep. And it's got her signature on the bottom. Bull. Carmichael, property manager. I blink at it like it'll vanish if I stare hard enough. This ain't even her land. I yank it out the ground, toss it onto the bank. My hands shake but I push it down. I ain't giving her that power. Not yet. Later I ask around. The county clerk tells me there's been a property dispute filed. Boundary clarification, she says like it's a weather report. But we got the deed. The markers. The surveys Grandpa Jacob himself walked with the county man back in '86. Still that night there's a sheriff's cruiser parked up near her driveway. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not. I try to shake it off. But it stays with me. The way she looked at me that first day. That little smirk behind her words. Like I was the stray dog sniffing around her porch. 3 days later it happens again. I'm walking back from the dock with a bucket of bluegill when I hear rustling in the brush. Then a low metallic whir. I look up and there it is. Her drone. Floating above me like some mechanical hawk. It dips low, tilts sideways. Watching. I shout. Throw a rock. Miss. And that night on Nextdoor someone posts. Unidentified man seen near Carmichael property again. Possibly armed. Be alert. The photo they post, it's me. Fuzzy. Grainy. Holding my damn fishing pole. My stomach knots. I scroll the comments. Looks suspicious. Why's he always hanging around there? Not from here, is he? I grew up right here. I slam my phone down. Pace. Try to breathe. That's when I realize what she's doing. She's not just trying to scare me. He's trying to rewrite the story, make me the intruder. The threat. And people are believing her. Not because she's right, but because she's white. And I'm not. I march up to her property line the next morning, sign in one hand, phone recording in the other. I'm done playing nice. She's out front, trimming her roses like she's in some glossy magazine ad for suburban supremacy. Her face doesn't even twitch when she sees me. I found this on my family's land, I say, holding up the sign like a warrant. She doesn't look up. That's not your land. Excuse me. She straightens, brushes dirt off her gardening gloves. The lake borders both our properties. And the dock? It's technically overlapping. My lawyer confirmed it. That dock's been there since 1993. Which doesn't make it legal. He smiles then. Plastic. Pitying. Like I'm a child who doesn't know better. You really should learn how property laws work. I feel the heat rise in my chest. You don't get to come here and rewrite history just because it doesn't fit your vision. I'm not rewriting anything, she says coolly. I'm protecting my space. Then she turns and walks inside like I'm not even there. Later that week I get a call from the county. Someone's filed a complaint. Unauthorized structures near a watershed. Possible zoning violation. I laugh at first. Then I remember she said she had a lawyer. Mama's worried. These people got time and money. Don't give them a reason. But I'm tired of being reasonable. So I start digging. I go to the county office, request aerial footage, property line surveys, old zoning records. Takes hours. Days. But it's all there, black and white, proof the lake, dock, and wooded trail fall well within our family's deeded land. I get copies. Photos. I talk to old man Ruben, our neighbor for 40 years. He signs a statement saying that dock's been ours since he was still teaching high school biology. That should be enough. But it's not. Because the next time I go down to the lake, my dock is gone. Gone. Chainsaw cut clean through. Boards floating in the water like broken ribs. A little pink note flutters from a nail hammered into the nearest tree. Unpermitted structures are subject to removal under County Code 7.3b. I see red. I drive straight to the sheriff's office. Slam the photo of her note on the counter. She destroyed our dock. Deputy Reynolds, white, mid-40s with a gut like a Thanksgiving turkey, barely glances at it. Did you see her do it? She left a note. He shrugs. Could have been anyone. No footage, no crime. I stare at him. But if I stepped on her land, y'all would be out there in 5 minutes. Let's not make this about race, son. He says it with a smile like we're on the same team. But we're not. So I go home furious. Hopeless. Until my cousin Tasha calls. She works in IT at the local bank. Check this out, she whispers and sends me a video. It's drone footage. From a neighbor's kid. He's been flying his own drone for a school project. Captured everything. The sign. The confrontation. And most importantly, her on our side of the fence pulling the boards from our dock, loading them onto a garden cart, smiling like she just cleaned up trash. My hands shake as I replay it. Now I've got proof. Not just of what she did, but of what she's willing to lie about. It's no longer whispers in the brush. No longer coded posts online. This is war. And I'm ready. The confrontation. Saturday. Noon. The sun hangs high and angry over the pines, casting long shadows across the lawn. I knock on Leslie Carmichael's front door with the confidence of a man carrying truth like a loaded weapon. Mama tried to stop me. Said, "Justice don't always come knocking, baby. Sometimes it waits in the dark." But I'm done waiting. Leslie opens the door with that same smug tilt of her chin. She's in a white linen dress this time. Ironic considering how dirty her hands are. Well, if it isn't the neighborhood fisherman. She leans against the doorframe like she owns every square foot between us. You here to trespass again? Or just to beg for your little dock back? I don't smile. Don't blink. I'd like to speak to you. Out front. Publicly. Her eyes narrow. Why? Because everyone should hear this. Her curiosity wins out. She steps outside, arms crossed, bare feet on the porch like she's untouchable. Neighbors have started to gather. Some from across the street. A few from down the block. Even Mr. Chambers, the HOA president, comes walking over with his coffee mug and confusion. Leslie sees them too. And she plays to the crowd like a theater veteran. I suppose he's here to make more baseless accusations, she says sweetly. He's been harassing me all week. Harassing, I say calmly. For fishing on my own land? That's what you think. She lets out a mock sigh. But we all know boundaries are complicated. And sometimes when people feel entitled. Entitled? I repeat. I can feel the heat rising in my spine, but I hold it. Keep my voice steady. You're on thin ice, she says, stepping closer. Keep this up and I'll have no choice but to file a restraining order. The neighbors murmur. I mean, you've already been reported, she continues. And I've got law enforcement on my side. You know how that ends. And there it is. The threat beneath her smile. She thinks she's invincible. Untouchable. She thinks my skin will do the work her words can't finish. I take out my phone. Funny you mention law enforcement. Because I've got something to show you. Her smile twitches. I hit play. The video begins. Drone footage. Crisp, silent, damning. There she is, Leslie Carmichael, in her powder blue windbreaker, dragging planks from my dock, loading them onto her cart. Laughing with her phone tucked between her shoulder and cheek. I hold it up high so the neighbors can see. Drone footage from Jeremy Wells's kid, I say. His science project caught everything. Leslie's face drains of color. I swipe to the next clip. Her note. In her handwriting. Hammered into our tree. The crowd goes quiet. Just the sound of cicadas buzzing in the distance. Everything you've done, I say slowly, I've documented. Every lie. Every fake report. Every time you called me a threat while you were breaking the law. She stammers. That could be edited. Except it's not. I turn to the crowd. Anyone want a copy? I've got it all backed up. Mr. Chambers steps forward. Is this true? His voice is low. Disbelief in every syllable. Leslie opens her mouth. Then closes it. She's cornered. I stare into her eyes and see it. The unraveling. She's no longer the puppet master. She's the exposed fraud. You think because you smile and drink oat milk and hide behind a cause, that makes you better than me, I say. But deep down this wasn't about land or zoning or lakes. This was about making sure people like me know our place. Silence. Her voice cracks. You don't belong here. And there it is. Figuth. Ugly. Naked. But finally out in the open. I take one step forward. And yet I do. Leslie backs up onto her porch like it's a fortress, but her kingdom is already crumbling. Her lips are trembling now, the tight lines around her mouth twitching with disbelief. This is harassment, she snaps, eyes darting across the crowd. He manipulated that footage. You're all watching a lie. But the neighbors don't look convinced anymore. Some whisper. Others just stare. The silent kind of judgment that hurts more than words. I've got nothing to hide, I say, still holding the phone. In fact, I sent this to my lawyer yesterday. He's filing a destruction of property claim. Trespassing too. And I also sent a copy to Sheriff Daniels. Her face blanches. Daniels. Yeah, I nod, keeping my eyes locked on hers. Turns out he does care about footage. Especially when the county drone ordinance is violated. Did you know flying surveillance over private property without consent is a misdemeanor? She blinks. You've been using your drone to follow me for weeks, I continue. Illegally. Stalking, in fact. I filed that complaint this morning. Her breath hitches. I have every photo you posted, every thread you started on Nextdoor. All painting me as a criminal with nothing but shadows and assumptions. And guess what? I gesture to the audience. You made me visible. And now everybody's watching. Enough, she growls, voice cracking. This is a setup. You people are always. You people. Someone echoes from the crowd. It's Mrs. Howard, the older black woman from 3 doors down. Her eyes narrow, sharp as a blade. What exactly do you mean by that, Leslie? The crowd stirs. Leslie tries to laugh it off. I didn't mean it that way. But the door behind her creaks open. And stepping out is none other than her own gardener, Luis. Soft-spoken, always nodding hello when I walk past. Today he holds his phone out like a badge. I quit, he says. Then adds in a calm voice, "And for the record, I got a video too. Of her yelling slurs last week when the irrigation system failed." He plays it. It's her voice. Clear as glass. "Why can't you people do anything right? Do I have to hire someone who speaks English?" The crowd gasps. Even Mr. Chambers recoils. Leslie lunges forward. "That was taken out of context. You all are twisting everything." But no one moves. No one speaks. She's unraveling fast now, her words tumbling out in panic. "You can't prove any of this in court. You don't know what I've done for this neighborhood. I chair the sustainability board. I organized the vegan potluck. I don't even have to speak anymore." She's burying herself. Then comes the siren. Slow, low, deliberate. A sheriff's cruiser pulls up. Not the one that brushed me off before. This one's driven by Deputy Carter, a black woman with no time for games. She steps out, walks right up to Leslie. "Leslie and Carmichael," she says loud enough for everyone to hear. "You've been served a cease and desist order regarding harassment, illegal surveillance and property destruction. You're also being investigated under the county's hate crime statute." Leslie gasps. "Hate crime? That's ridiculous." Carter doesn't flinch. "We've got footage. Testimony. A pattern of racial targeting and fabricated complaints. We'll let the court decide. I'm not going to jail for some doc in a drone." "No," Carter replies. "You might go to jail for thinking no one would ever hold you accountable." Leslie starts to cry. Not the quiet, pitiful kind, but the messy, sputtering sobs of someone who realizes the empire she built on entitlement is falling down around her ankles. I turn to leave, but Carter stops me. "One more thing," she says. "The county is filing restitution charges. You'll be reimbursed for the doc. And Ms. Carmichael will be covering the legal fees associated with this mess." I nod. That's enough. As I walk back toward my house, the crowd parts like a tide. Some pat me on the back. Others apologize with their eyes. And then I see Mama, standing on our porch. Arms folded. Proud. Tired. "I told you justice waits in the dark," she says softly. I smile. "Yeah," I reply. "But sometimes you gotta drag it into the light." It's strange how quiet the lake feels now. No more drone hum in the sky. No more threatening notes. No more whispered stares from porches pretending not to watch. Just water. So peaceful. Leslie Carmichael was officially arrested the following Tuesday. They tried to keep it quiet, but word spreads fast in a town built on whispers. Turns out her HOA emails were filled with more than neighborhood complaints. They were a road map of targeting. Complaints flagged with code words. Suspicious behavior. Loud presence. Aggressive fishing. Her resignation came the same day. The HOA board? Silent at first. But once the county's Civil Rights Commission opened an investigation into their enforcement practices, a few voices found the courage to apologize. Not publicly, of course. Just hushed side conversations at the post office or awkward waves when driving by. But some folks did more. Mrs. Howard invited me over for sweet tea and pound cake. She said, "You reminded us we don't have to keep our heads down just to stay safe." Jeremy Wells's kid? He printed out a still frame of the drone footage and gave it to me in a handmade frame that read, "Justice takes flight." Even Mr. Chambers came by. Said he'd never seen her for who she really was. I didn't say much back. Because I had seen her. From the start. It was in her smile. The kind that said you don't belong, wrapped up in Southern politeness. The kind of racism that doesn't yell, it simply denies. She lost more than just her dock-grabbing power trip. Her husband filed for divorce. Sponsors dropped her boutique plant-based food brand. Local press picked up the story titled, "Vegan HOA Leader Accused of Hate Crime Against Black Neighbor." Poetic. They say karma doesn't always come knocking. But this time she kicked the door in. Mama and I rebuilt the dock ourselves. I added new cedar planks, coated in fresh sealant. Stronger than before. I even carved a name into one of the boards near the end. Still standing. Because that's what this is about. Not revenge. Not some petty win. Survival. Dignity. Truth. One morning while I was out on the dock casting a line, a kid on a bike rolled up with his fishing rod. White boy. About 12. Said he'd heard the lake used to be off limits unless you looked a certain way. I smiled and waved him over. Not anymore, I said. He grinned, dropped his gear beside me and cast into the water. And for a moment it felt like the world could change. Maybe not all at once, but cast by cast, step by step, plank by plank. Later that evening, as the sky turned soft with dusk, Mama sat beside me. The air smelled like pine and lake water. She looked out across the water and said, "You didn't just stand up for yourself. You stood up for every one of us who was told to shrink." I didn't answer. I just watched the ripple in the lake where my line disappeared. And felt free. Finally. Free.